Hi, everyone. Good day, and welcome to another session of Upskilling for Faculties. For today's topic, we will be talking about PLD, or Personalized Learning Designer, within our virtual classroom. So this is not our first time to talk about PLD, right? So we have had previous sessions about PLD. So basically discussing what is PLD, what are the things, what are the components within PLD, and how can we utilize this to increase engagement within the course. But for this session, we will be talking about PLD as a tool to monitor, to support underperforming students, right? Okay. So just a quick backgrounder as to what really is PLD. So this is just a diagram of how PLD works within your virtual classroom, right? So PLD is sort of like automation within your virtual classroom. So like for example, when the student enters a course, they will see that this automated customized message with their name on it, right? Or also when the student takes a quiz, and then of course they have this varying results, right? So like for example, when the student gets a grade of 80 or more, that would lead the students to a different pathway. And for example, if the students would get a grade of less than 80, it would also lead to a different pathway. Different pathway in the sense that, for example, if the student's score is less than 80, it would open up another, probably supplementary materials about that particular topic, right? The students got the score of 80 or more would not have, or won't be able to access those kinds of materials, because again we have to set conditions and actions prior to opening these kinds of materials, right? So that's one way of using PLD. Okay, so what are some rules? What are some of the things that you can do with PLD? So these are just some of them. There's a lot, but there's just some of them. So like for example, retention check alert. If you've noticed that there are certain students who is not using your virtual classroom for the past X number of days, then you can perform some alerts. For example, as a reminder to submit a quiz or an assignment. If for an instance, as what I've said earlier, there's this failed quiz, then it would link to a resource. Another one, the most common one, is welcome message, announcements, and release of additional content. So our focus for this afternoon is we will be talking about PLD again as a tool so that we can monitor, we can support those underperforming students. Okay, so let's go directly to our first example. So here what we have here is a forum. So it says here that the rule is, that's the rule name, the poor forum grade. And let's just say that you have this forum set up for your students, and then some of the students got a really low score with that particular activity or with that particular forum. And what you want as an instructor is um, whoever whoever get that low score, they will receive an email suggesting a meeting to basically discuss how to do better in the next forums, right? Okay, so let's go to our virtual classroom. So this is an example of, again, this is just a dummy virtual classroom, right? So let me go to the assessment. And what we have here is I have a forum. I have here a forum with the title AI in Education, right? So again, our rule is, let me go back. This is, you can actually grade a forum, and then whoever reaches 65%, or let's just say 80% below 80%, then they would get that message, suggesting a meeting to discuss how to do better in forums. So how to set up PLD, it's also included in our previous sessions, but this time, I think previously we talked about PLD being set up here in the settings, but we are moving away from that function because we have a new PLD. You can access PLD via the course dashboard here, and then PLD. So there's two PLDs currently. The PLD legacy, that was the previous PLD. It's still working, but it's about to be removed. And then the new one, which is this one, PLD. So we just have to choose the new one. All right. So in a PLD, you only need three things, right? To create a rule, you have an activity, which is this one. You also need an event, which is this one. And, no, no, sorry. So we have to click this one first. Sorry for that. Okay, the rule name is, let's just say, for grade four, right? And then you just need, again, as what I've said, you just need three components. You need the events, the conditions, and actions, right? So the event is activity graded, right? Because that would be the trigger. The event is the trigger for your action, okay? You can also see that there's a definition of what an event is here, okay? So an event is activity graded. So when the teacher grades the activity, so we're gonna select what type of activity. This time it's a forum. And then it will trim down, it will filter down all the forum activities within your virtual classroom and would list it down here. Now, currently, I have three. So that particular forum is titled AI in Education. And don't forget to click on the button once you set up everything here. Click on Add a New Event. There. Now, the condition, this is where we're going to filter down our trigger, right? Remember that our condition is that when the student's grade within that particular activity or within that forum is less than 80, then the student, the students will basically receive an email from the teacher or from the virtual classroom, right? So condition here. So let's look for activity grade range. And then all of these conditions, because you can actually have multiple conditions in one PLD. So add new condition. So we will be using the activity that triggered. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Or we can select an activity. But for me, I'm used to selecting an activity that was a forum, and the activity title is AI in Education. So what we have here is grade is less than 80%. That's the condition. Click it save. Okay, so if you'll notice, we now have an event, activity graded, which is AI in Education. That's the forum. Our condition is AI in Education's grade is less than 80%, and the action would be to send an email, right? So here, under actions, you have different predefined actions that you can choose from. Let's go to send email and then add new action, right? So from, or let's just say it's from the teacher to, so we were, for two, we have to add recipients, right? So who are the recipients of this particular action? So it should be that it's the triggering user, okay? Whoever triggers this particular condition will receive the email, okay? There. And the subject, what would be the subject? Let's see, meeting for uh, forum discussion. Or you know what, let me just meeting for discussion. Okay, so that's your subject. And in the subject, by the way, you can also insert token. Like for example, for meeting for forum discussion regarding, and then here we can insert a token. We can have an activity name. Take the name of an activity. So that's the name of the activity, right? So that's the activity that we use in our event. And then for the body, we can have hi, and then you can insert a token. So like for example, that's the name of the student. Um, Good day. Like for example, this, I have observed that you have a low score in our previous activity, and then you can insert the name of this to the activity, right? The name of the activity there. So I would like to so on and so forth. So you can now insert your message in the body with the tokens. You can use different tokens from here, right? Like the name of the course, the name of the activity. You can even have the the grade of a certain activity. Okay. So with that, now that you're done with setting up your actual image or no, actual email to the student, then what you can do from here is just make sure to click this one, run this action once so that, for this particular email, it would not loop, and then click save. Okay. So you now have your event, which is activity graded, that particular forum, AI in education. You also have the condition wherein the student's grade is less than 80%. And then the action would be you will send an email to the student discussing about a certain activity. Okay. So from here, what you can do is you all just have to click save. Yeah, save. So again, just this is just a summarized rule, and click save. There you go. So you will know that your PLD has been successfully created once it's listed here, right? So it says here that we have this particular PLD, and you even have these functions buttons here. You can disable the rule if you want to. You can copy, you can delete, or you can edit the rules. Like for example, you don't want this rule now. You don't want to delete the rule, but you just want it to be hidden. You can just click the I button here on the right side, then it would disable the rule. Okay, so that's how you create a rule, especially for cases like this. Let's try another one. So like for example, it's a quiz, right? And then the student got a low score basically in a quiz, and you want to give supplementary materials for that particular lesson to a particular student who got a low score. Okay? Sige. So, like for example here, we have assessment. We have quiz number one. So, quiz number one, let's just say, um is about topic one, right? So I'll just edit this one for clarity. Quiz number one, let me just edit this. Topic one, quiz one. Topic one is one. Okay, I'm just gonna save it. Okay, so again, we will create a PLD rule where, like, for example, if a student got a low score out of this quiz, then supplementary materials will be visible to that particular student, right? So, okay. So how do we set it up? Again, inside your virtual classroom, just go to course dashboard and choose PLD, not PLD legacy. So PLD, and to create a rule, we just have to start with clicking this button here, create a rule. So for the rule name, this is quiz one. So by the way, the rule name, there's actually There's no mandatory rule in terms of how you name your PLDs. You can have it your way. So just make sure that you know which PLD is for this particular function. Right. So for this one, I'll just give it like a quiz one. Okay. The event is activity graded again. So the activity type this time it's a quiz, and then which quiz is topic one, quiz one. Okay, and then make sure to click on add a new event. So there are multiple cases where we actually receive things like, sir, my PLD doesn't work, it doesn't save, because it won't save if you don't have an event, and you will not be having an event if you will not click this add a new event button here. So it's not enough that you just set these fields here. You also have to click add a new event. Okay. Then the condition will be, so activity grade range again, and then any or all of these conditions. If you have multiple conditions, that's fine. Add a new condition. So I'll be selecting an activity. It's a quiz, and it's the topic one, quiz one. And that your grade is less than 80%, it's the same. Same. Okay. So what would be the action? The action would be the student, let's just write, because you can actually have multiple actions in one rule, right? So this time we will try to add multiple actions. For example, the first action is a display alert. Display alert, add a new action. So here we'll be typing hi, and then we can be inserting a token, the name of the student. So tokens are just variables, right? I, so I have observed that you get a low score a in so on and so forth, right? That's your message to the student. That's the display alert. So for example, what will happen is when the student submits the quiz, immediately, if for example, that particular student got a low score, he can actually see this particular message immediately. So we just have to run this action once, save, there. So that's our first action. The students submit the quiz and the result is 80%, is less than 80%. The grade is less than 80%. This will be the first action, a display alert. The second one is we are going to redirect the student to a particular supplementary materials. But if you'll notice, I don't have the supplementary material yet. So what I can do from here is I'll just gonna save this for now. Yeah, I'm just gonna save this for now. This is not done yet. I'm just gonna save this for now because what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a dummy supplementary material. So I'll just add the material here under course welcome alert, create learning activity. I'll just choose resources, and this is like this is a file for an instance. Okay, so this is supplementary material one. Okay, and then I will upload a files. For example, this is a PowerPoint file or a PDF file. So let me just look for example, here I have my module 5. So I'll just upload it here. Upload. Loading now, and then save and return to course. So right now, this particular material is visible to all. So what I can do so that it would only be visible to students who got low score out of a certain activity is I'm going to change the visibility, right? So make it available, but don't show course page. So there, okay? So once the supplementary material is uploaded or it's linked, we can then go to the course dashboard and then go back to our PLD. And from here, we are going to edit the quiz one rule, right? So edit this one. Okay, so we want to have multiple actions for this particular PLD. So first, we have the display alert, informing the student that he got this particular score from this particular quiz. The next one is we want to show the student or give him supplementary materials to study for that particular lesson. So go to activity, right? You notice we have here an action that says go to activity. So go to activity and then add a new action. And then which type of activity would you like the PLD to redirect to? So it's a file, and then the name of the file is supplementary material one, right? Yes, run this action once. Do you want to include some delays before redirecting? Let's just leave it at 0 and then click save. Okay, and then that's it. We now have two actions. First, when the student got a low score, the student will see a pop-up message, an alert. And then immediately after closing the alert box, that student will be redirected without delay to a supplementary material. It could be a file, it could be another quiz, it could be an assignment, it could be a URL, right? So other students who got a score of 80 or more, they won't have access to these materials. Only these materials are only available to students who got certain low score in a particular quiz. So that's another way of setting it up, right? So click on save and then save. Okay. So just to give you ano lang, a background or just to give you a quick example of how do it looks like from the student's perspective. So let me just change this one. I'll just go to users and go to enrolled users, and I'm going to enroll myself as a student, right? Okay, so I am now a student. Now I will switch role to student and I will try to see if the PLD really works, particularly for for the quiz, right? So now I'm gonna switch role to student, and then I have this quiz in my assessment. I'm gonna take the quiz. It stands attempt quiz. So this particular quiz is just an example quiz, just a dummy quiz, dummy item. So there's only one item for this quiz. I'm not even sure which one is the right answer. Finish. So are you sure? I'm gonna submit this. I'm gonna submit all and finish. So there's the PLD. Hi, and then that's my name as a student. And then I have observed that you got a low score in whatever message that you want your students to read for this particular alert, right? Now, what will happen if I'm going to close this particular message box or alert box? It would redirect me immediately to a supplementary material. Close. It's redirecting now, and it's downloading and opening the the uh, the supplementary material, right? So I'm just gonna go back to the course. Let me just refresh this one. Okay, there. So that's how PLD works. Immediately after submission, if the students reaches below a certain threshold in terms of score, then the actions would commence. So you will see a pop-up message. And then, for example, if you want the students to read a certain material or to visit a certain website, it would it would be the student would be redirected immediately to that particular material. Okay, so that material, the supplementary material, won't be available to students who got 80% or more. It's only available for students who got 80 or who got less than 80% for a particular test, right? So that's one way of personalizing the experience within your course. At the same time, supporting underperforming students, giving them additional materials, right? So our next example is this, a reminder for a particular submission. So let's say you have an assignment, right? And then you have this due date, and then it's past due date, and there's certain students who don't have any submissions yet. So instead of you reminding those students, we will use PLD to remind the students. You can remind them multiple times within a day or once a day or once a week. So it depends on how you set it up, right? So what we have here is an example assignment here. It says here that we have an assignment with the title parts of the computer, right? And the submission date, or it will be open today, and then it will be closed by November 30. Okay. So what you want to do is even before the due date, you want to send a reminder to your students. Even and after due date, you will also want to send reminder to your students, right? So first is sending reminder before the due date. Okay. So let's go to course dashboard and then go to let me go back to my current normal goal. Okay. So go to dashboard, go to PLD. So this time we'll set up a PLD. This is for everybody, just reminding everybody that, hey, we have an upcoming assignment. Due date is on. Okay. So create a rule. This is assignment reminder. Then the event would be, what do you think would be the best event for this one? So it's a, let's say it's a recurring event. Right. I would use a recurring event for this one until that due date. So recurring event, it's a daily reminder. I would say it's a daily reminder. So just once daily lang, every day at, let's just say, you want to send a reminder at 8 in the morning. There. Starting from today and then ending on, that's 29 because the due date is on the 30th, right? All right, so let's click add a new event. Okay, so we now have an event here. So this particular event is a recurring event and it happens every day at 8 in the morning. So the conditions will be, of course, we have to filter this out because we want that the event or this particular PLD will only be applied to those students who have not submitted yet. But for those who have made their submissions, then they would not see this particular PLD. So their activity completed, right? So what activity? Let's select the activity. So user has completed the following activity. So we're gonna select the activity. It's an assignment, and the name of the activity is parts of the computer. Click it save there. So this will be our condition. So parts of the computer must be completed, right? So next, the action would be, or let me just edit this one, has not completed the following activity. So assignment, it's the parts of the computers there. So we have this recurring event that happens daily at 8 a.m. and the condition would be that particular assignment has not been completed. So the action will be, first, we're going to display an alert, add a new action, not an alert. We will be sending an email. Let's just send an email, add a new action, and then from the teacher, So the recipient is the triggering user. That's the student who's not yet completed the assignment. Subject is reminder to submit assignment one. Okay, let's just say that's assignment one. And then, of course, you can customize the body. So, hi, here we can insert first name. Then this is a reminder to submit, so on and so forth. Okay, so this will be your email to your student, reminding them to submit assignment one, right? And then let's click on save and then save, save. There you go. So currently we have three PLDs. The first one is if the students, it's a forum, right? So you want to send an email to talk about low score in form. The second one, it's a quiz. So you are displaying an alert if a certain grade is not reached for that quiz, and also you will be giving supplementary materials for that. Now the third one, which is this one the one that we just set up, is it's a recurring event, an event that will happen every day at 8 in the morning from 11:27. So you can actually check it from here. Let's go ahead and open this one. From 11, be available 11:27 to 11:29. So November 29, that's how we set it up earlier. Let me go back to the, okay, and then the condition will be users uh, have not or has not been completed, or user did not make any submission for the assignment parts of the computer. And then the action would be it's an email, so they will send an email to whoever is not yet complete with this particular activity. So with that, you are reminding students to submit the assignment even before the due date, right? So every day at 8 a.m., if a student is not done yet with this particular assignment, they will receive an email. So email every day to remind. So that's a great way to remind your students about a certain submission. Okay, so that's if before the due date. So what if it's past due date? Okay, then we could set up the same, right? What we can actually do really is just to copy this one. So that's I told you earlier that we have these four buttons here. We can use the copy button if you think that this particular PLD in terms of structure is more or less the same with the other one, with the previous one, or with the other PLDs available. Then what you can do is just copy or clone the rule, right? So clone or copy, that's just the same function here. So here we have a PLD, a copied PLD. So, and from here, what we can do is we can edit this particular PLD. So event, we can delete this one. So we can change a recurring or a recurring event. So that happens daily. Now the starting, we will change the starting date from 27, we will change it to 30, right? And then the ending date would be, let's just say, we can have it until December, just say 13. All right, there. So it happens daily from November 30 to December 13. Conditions will be, it's the same. Parts of the computer has not been completed. So if you're complete with that, then the PLD will not work for you. So the action would be the same, just a reminder to students, but this time we have to edit, sorry, you have to edit your message. So observe that you have not made any submission for our uh, assignment, so on and so forth. Right? and then you can click on save, save, and then save. Okay. Oh, it's not saving for some reason. Let me check. One or more events are okay. So, okay, this is a good example of um if you notice, when I click on save, it's not saving. So there could be something wrong. If you just go up, it says here that one or more events are required. So I know that I have set up the event, but I haven't clicked the add a new event button. Okay, so I have to click it first. So there you go. We now have the event here, and then click on save. So are you sure? Save. There you go. So what's good about PLD is if it's not set up properly, it would not save and it would give you the exact error or the exact thing that you need to do so that the PLD will be saved. So again, like for example, that one, it's telling me that it doesn't have currently the event has not been saved. So I have to choose or I have to save the event. So there, right? So those are some of the things that you can do in terms of, you know, monitoring or supporting underperforming students with PLD. So these are automated functions. So once you set it up, it will just keep on running, checking the triggers, checking the conditions, and basically doing the actions within your virtual classroom. So there's no need for you to actually monitor or to actually, manually remind the students daily about a certain activity. Um, Manually giving the students supplementary materials, restricting only for those students who got a low score from a certain activity. So PLD can do that for you. So there's a lot of things that you can do with PLD, but these are just some of the examples in terms of how you help, how you strategize your monitoring activity, especially for students who are underperforming within your class or within your virtual classroom. Let me go back here. We can have another example. Work not submitted, work not assignment. Okay. So back to, all right. Okay, so those are some of the examples that we have today.